All right, we are back. If you're here with us for the first time ever, so happy you're here. If you're not, welcome back. Today we're talking about data architecture, but before we get into that, I'm Nick. That's my name. I'm the head of partnerships here at Commerciant. And with me, I've got Beth, our head of marketing, Kim, who's below me, but it's only relevant to me, our VP of sales and marketing, and below her to me is Alex, our sales manager. And like I said, we're here today to talk to you about data architecture. Before we get into that, again, I just want to make a quick shout out that each week we have those of you joining putting great questions in the chat and asking about digging into very specific topics. And that's what we're using to decide what the next video is. So please continue to do that. Please continue to drop your questions in the chat or what topics you'd like for us to cover in the future. And if you'd like to email us, you can do that as well. All that information should be available on the screen. And we can cover it in an upcoming video or at the end for a Q&A. Okay, so data architecture. We're going to talk about how data architecture differs across various CRMs. And before we get into that, this is merely informational. So we're not necessarily saying one CRM is inherently better than the other. We're really just talking about, you as someone who is looking for a new CRM, what you might be looking for, or if you're looking to integrate a CRM, to make a more informed decision by understanding the differences. So we're here to point out the differences to enable you to decide which CRM is right for you. Okay. I think I covered all the housekeeping. Is that all the housekeeping, everybody?
Nailed it.
I think you got it.
Great. Okay. So Beth, my mom is tuned in. So for her sake, and for everybody else's sake, I really want to make sure that she can follow along here. So can you just start off by clarifying, like in really simple terms, what do we mean when we're talking about data architecture? For the moms in the room.
For the moms in the room. Yeah. I'm a mom. Hi, Nick's mom. Let's talk about this one. So this is a really great question. I want you to think of data architecture like the blueprint of a building. It's the plan for how data is organized, how it's stored, and how it flows through. So this includes things like naming conventions, structure, and relationships, as well as deciding which data should talk to each other and which should stay separate. It also layers in security to control who gets access to what. So it's really several layers deep there. Good architecture keeps everything organized and secure. It makes it easy to use so that the right people can access that data when they need it. Bad data architecture, it's kind of like a house with no lights. And so when you start working with multiple interconnected systems, data architecture becomes even more critical. Without a solid structure, you risk creating data silos. You've heard me say it time and time again. I don't like them. Those are those isolated pockets of information that don't communicate, making it harder to adapt and grow your business. A well-designed data architecture increases that flexibility and adaptability, allowing your systems to evolve as your business grows. And that leads to improved data quality and reduced cost over time.
Okay, so now we have a foundation. So there are two aspects of data architecture that are important to consider. One, how CRMs compare to each other, and two, how to make CRMs talk to other systems. So what do we need to know about data in CRMs? Kim, that sounds like a you question.
Yeah, so there are many CRMs on the market. Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho, Creatio, Sugar, Pipedrive, Monday, the list goes on and on and on. But we broadly categorize them into two buckets, personalized and customized. So let me connect the dots. So CRMs are made up of objects. The object is like a table of information. Many people like to describe it like a spreadsheet, which is something we're all familiar with. So think of the information you'd put into a spreadsheet, a list of your accounts, a list of contacts, product lists. You get the point. So then in the spreadsheet, you have fields. These are like the columns at the top of your spreadsheet, the information that you want, first name, last name, email, phone number, whatever. Then the individual rows in the spreadsheet, those are your records, John Smith and Anna Johnson, and so on and so forth. So now it's critically important that objects can talk to one another as well. For example, you want to be able to relate or associate the data to each other. So some common examples are accounts and contacts. Those should be able to talk to each other. Or deals and products, same thing. So objects can stand alone, but the true architecture is facilitating their communication in meaningful and obviously structured ways. Another really quick call out is that we're talking about CRMs in general, and object is the most commonly accepted term for this type of data, but some CRMs call them different things. You might hear modules or boards or objects, depending on the CRM company that you're talking to. All the exact same thing.
Okay, so how does this relate to the two buckets that you pointed out?
Beth, do you want to take that one?
Yes, let's get back to the buckets. So there are two types of CRM data architecture, the personalized bucket and the customized bucket. Personalized means you're tweaking existing templates to fit your business. Customized is built from scratch. CRMs like Pipedrive and HubSpot offer flexibility without complexity. And if you find you only need a few custom objects, HubSpot Enterprise gives you 10, so you can tailor your CRM without a rebuild. So what's on the other side there? We've got the extreme customization bucket. These CRMs let you create tons of custom objects and associations, even at the lowest tiers, total freedom. But that freedom does come at a cost.
A cost? Explain.
So your cost, you're losing out on out-of-the-box workflows, reports, and automations when you go with those really customized solutions. Customization takes time, and time is money. And with extreme customization, that cost seems to never stop. The more custom your CRM, the harder it is to maintain. What works today could break tomorrow.
Okay, that makes sense. So for all of those people who are visual learners, what does that look like?
I never thought you'd ask, Nick. Pumped about it. First, some real quick vocab as I'm going through, because I get in auto mode, my hands start going. I'm going to show you HubSpot and Salesforce. Now, while both of these CRMs call the different parts of the system objects, there's some slightly different terminology that'd be good to know. In HubSpot, they call it a company. In Salesforce, they call the same thing an account. In HubSpot, they call it a deal. This is the opportunity to sell to someone. In Salesforce, they call it an opportunity. And one other key vocab is the individual data points in HubSpot are called properties, and the individual data points in Salesforce are called fields. So just some key terminology. Beth, I'm going to take over your screen share if you don't mind and show you guys some CRM stuff. All right. We're going to start with Salesforce because that is what is on my screen. So in Salesforce, the individual objects are at the top of your screen here. So you can see accounts, contacts, reports, dashboards. This is what you'd use to navigate through your CRM. So just to get a quick rundown, if we click into an account, you can either click into the account object and see everything. And right now I'm just saying recently viewed, but I could expand this and see every single solitary account that I wanted, or it kind of gives you this like quick jump here. I could jump to recent things. I'm just going to jump into this top one here, AR Young Company. I can see all of the fields that are specifically related to this company. So this is their phone number, their billing address, and so on. And over here on the right, I can see the opportunity to jump to other objects. So for instance, this is the opportunity object. Oh, and I expanded it. You can see opportunity exists up here, and I could find these objects by going through, searching through all the opportunities, or I can click into these exact opportunities that relate to this direct company, this account. So that's the way to navigate through Salesforce. A really important thing about Salesforce is that right now we are only in Sales Cloud. It is relatively common to buy multiple clouds or hubs. That's other terminology. Salesforce calls them clouds. HubSpot calls them hubs. If you are in Salesforce, changing to a different cloud, you need to actually physically change to that other cloud. That'll make sense to you as soon as you see HubSpot and see how that's different. So we have all the objects listed at the top. You have fields within each object. You can see all of the records, and you can navigate to the related objects directly inside each record through these quick links. All right, let's see how HubSpot is different. HubSpot, instead of the accounts being at the top, they're on the side. If you want to see the full names of things, you can expand. Otherwise, you can keep it condensed so you have more of your screen. And you can see all of these different objects in these different sections. So we looked at the accounts in Salesforce. Only makes sense to look at the companies in HubSpot. That'd be the equivalent. So I can click into the company object. Same thing, I'm going to see a list of all of the companies that we have in this system. I can click into any one of them and I'll be able to see those same associations. So here I can see on the right-hand side, all of the other objects that have information related to this one. So we have a contact who works at MES. We have the company information, deal information. If there were tickets, all of that is related here on the screen. Now, one of the big differences is in Salesforce, when we wanted to change to a different cloud, we had to click those little 9 dots and actually jump to a different cloud, which would have had different objects and a different look. In HubSpot, it's all right here for you. So right here, I'm in Sales Hub. I can see my deals. I can also see tickets right here. This is Service Hub. I can see my marketing information. You can just jump right here easily within one screen to all of the different things that you might need. Does that help, Nick?
I think that helps. It's a lot of different user interfaces there. One other thing that I wanted to clarify, though, is I keep hearing you talk about the term objects. You said standard objects, custom objects, and managed objects. Can you break down what you mean when you talk about each of those?
So I'm going to take that one because it's a really easy one. We're going to go back to the coffee shop scenario that we had last time. So standard objects, those are going to be like your standard chocolate dip donut here. They come built in with your CRM, ready to use from day one. Custom objects, you want something a little bit more elevated. Your coffee shop doesn't have it for you, so you bake them at home. This is the ones that you create from scratch. And then managed objects, those are from third-party apps like Commerciant. We're adding that functionality, adding that little bit extra pizzazz without the DIY headache.
Love the donut analogy. Just a big fan of that choice, whoever's choice that was. Really like that. So where does Commerciant fit in here? Which donut is Commerciant?
The best one, I'll tell you that. Yeah, so Commerciant fits, we're an app, right? So Commerciant is an app that replicates ERP data into the CRM. So you have all of this data coming in that the CRM isn't necessarily made for. So at Commerciant, we need to figure out where to put it all, right? So our goal is to maximize standard objects while only using custom objects when necessary. So for example, ERP accounts synced into the CRM company/accounts, depending on the CRM. ERP products sync into products, but what about data that doesn't fit into a standard CRM structure? For example, inventory or invoices. Those are not out-of-the-box features that a CRM has, right? Well, that's where the data architecture is really important. When the data architecture only allows for personalization, we put that information into the most like object. For instance, inventory relates to products, so we create a custom properties or fields in the product object. When the data architecture allows for customization, we create a new managed custom object.
Can I ask a question that any three of you can answer? I'm just trying to go backwards to the donut analogy, and I'm wondering like what part of that metaphor Commerciant is. Are we like the donut?
Commerciant's a combination of that of the donuts, right? So we want, wherever possible, we want to put the information into the standard object because that's what's there. That's what's pre-built. That's what costs the least amount of money for the user of that system to manage long-term. So when standard objects exist, we're going to grab a chocolate donut. We're going to love it. Now, here's the thing. Standard objects don't always exist. And that's what Alex was talking about. If you have inventory and your CRM doesn't have an inventory standard object, where do you put it? Right? So then it depends on the system. Some systems you can throw right into its own managed custom object. And since inventory doesn't exist and I can customize your CRM, I'm going to make an object to put that. But what happens when there isn't custom objects that you can build and you have information that doesn't have a standard object? Well, that's where you have to put the information into a standard object, usually as a custom property. So inventory is a perfect example. How do we handle inventory in Salesforce versus HubSpot? In HubSpot, inventory is going to actually go into the standard product object as new custom properties. So you can look at a product, you can say, this is my table, and my table costs $19. And that's a very cheap table. I don't know why I chose that number. And I have 72 on hand. And so all of that information is in the same standard object of HubSpot. Vice versa, in Salesforce, we can create as many custom objects as we want. We actually create its own area and relate it. So if you remember on the Salesforce screens earlier, you could click into other sections. You'd literally click into another section in Salesforce to find the inventory information. Whereas in HubSpot, it's right there in front of you on the same screen you're already on. Does that help? The answers were a lot of donuts.
Okay.
We're a variety pack, depending on the CRM.
Okay. So that makes sense. One more question. And Kim, you can take this if you want. How do I know what I need to connect, and how do I know what to put where?
Well, I know this might come as a surprise, but everyone thinks that they have very different or unique integration needs, but really most integrations are really similar, and they all are because of a similar workflow. So when you're connecting data from two different systems, you're not trying to change system 2 to be system 1. That defeats the purpose of having that new system. Instead, you're trying to enhance your processes by having these two systems work together. So think about what your processes are, right? A new lead comes in, it comes into the CRM, and you want to work that lead in the CRM because that's what a CRM is built for. CRMs now have amazing functionality, so you want to quote out of the CRM as well. But in order to quote, you need ERP data. That's where you'd really want to have data integrating. What do I need to integrate? I need to integrate the data I need to quote products, price books, possibly inventory. Then the quote gets approved. All of this is CRM stuff. Now, after that, you have an approved quote. Now you're going to switch to the source of truth being the ERP. You want to process that payment. You need to fulfill the order, and you need to manage that customer long-term. Those are typically handled in the ERP as the source of truth. So you'd want to bring your CRM information into your ERP, your new account, your new contact, your new deal to make that happen. Finally, you need visibility. A CRM is all about managing your customers long-term. If the source of truth changed to the ERP and you don't have that information coming back into the CRM, you don't have the full customer 360 that you need to successfully manage that customer long-term. So really, most integrations are the same. Products, price books, inventory coming out of the ERP into the CRM. New contacts, new accounts, new deals or opportunities coming out of the CRM into the ERP. And then that full visibility of the other information, the customer master record, the updated account information, updated contact information coming back into the CRM for that full 360.
Okay, great. Alex, sum it up for me. What do I need to know about data architecture when thinking about CRM and integration?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we can sum it up in three points here. I think one, you need to understand your CRM's capabilities. HubSpot and Salesforce are architected differently, and each has its strengths. So choose the one that aligns with what you're trying to achieve, right? So really take your time to understand those capabilities, right? Then 2, use custom objects only when necessary. Sometimes, you know what they say, less is more. Custom objects require additional reports, workflows, and admin overhead. So be aware of that. And then 3, define your source of truth. Not all data should sync bidirectionally. Choose the best place for each data set to live. And I think, go ahead, Beth.
Yeah, if I can hop in here, Alex. This really relates to the Commercient integration as well. At Commercient, we've built a pre-configured data architecture for CRM to ERP integration that ensures standard objects are prioritized, custom objects are used only when necessary, and data integrity and reporting consistently are maintained.
Nice. Lovely. Cool. Hey gang, can we take some questions with the time that we have left?
Definitely. Let's do
do
it.
Definitely. Let's do it, she said.
Be like
Okay.
Nike, just do it.
That's right.
That's your line.
Okay. Nice. Melanie. Hey, Melanie. Melanie asked, how do I know which CRM is right for me? Okay. Feels like a softball to somebody.
I'm throwing it at Alex.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great question, Melanie. Thanks for sharing it in the chat. Honestly, you need to look at what you're trying to achieve, right? Going back to the points I just described earlier. With a personalized CRM like HubSpot, you're going to get an easy setup CRM and an out-of-the-box functionality. This is great for teams that don't have internal IT teams or that are on a budget. The long-term cost of ownership can be significantly less with this type of CRM. On the other hand, if you think about your processes and the words custom come into play, or things like complex product variant or CPQ, you might need a more customizable solution to align with your business processes. So really, you need to think about what your processes are, think about what your resources are. Some businesses need all of bells and whistles, others don't.
Well said, Alex.
Can we get a round of applause for Alex there? Well done.
It's not a round of
Oh, should we go in circular motions?
You should.
Okay. Another question. We have Malik asking, with different data architectures, are integrations to all the different systems similar in functionality?
Yes and no. As far as functionality goes, it's exactly the same. If data is integrated and all of it's native, you're going to be able to use the data the same, regardless of which system you're using. If you're using HubSpot, if you're using Salesforce, if you're using Zoho, as long as it's a true native integration, you can use the data the same ways. Now, where it's different is where the data lives. If you have a personalized system where we're putting the data into standard objects, it's going to live in a standard object. And if you have a more customizable CRM where we're putting the data into managed custom objects, it's going to live there. So the data may live in different spots, but you can use it the same way no matter where it lives.
Awesome. Great. Okay, I think we're a bit over. So I think that's a good place to stop. So Alex actually said at the end of this episode, he was going to sign us off with a little trick that he was going to share with us. He had like a special little like sign off like trick he was going to do. Did you want to do that?
It's not juggling, right? The juggling is you.
I think that was on you, Nick.
I feel like Nick's just driving the bus right now, right over Alex, and just like, hey, Alex, putting you on the spot.
Okay, Alex. Yeah. Alex, we can do it. We can do it the next episode. I know
for next time. Yeah.
That you may not.
Alex is a musician, so next episode, I want Alex's guitar out, and he can do his bits in song.
Beth, I told you that you could do your little routine if Alex backed out. Did you want to do yours, or did you just want to end it here?
Did you want me to talk more about how people should train their staff, or I think we're probably good there. We can probably stop.
Okay, well, that's it. We're out of time. Thanks, everybody. Looking forward to the next episode and Alex's routine, of course. So thanks, everybody.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
Bye, guys.